Well, howdy, sixth graders. Welcome to Read Aloud with Mr. Lee. And I'm going to stop talking like that. And I'm not going to read any more of the text. Actually, I'm not going to read any of it in a Southern accent. But here we go. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to remind you how to get into Discovery Ed, which we talked about last week, to give you an idea of why we're doing these Read Aloud videos to help you guys have access to the sources, but also to preview the questions that you guys are going to be working on connected to each of the different pages. So first, if you haven't bookmarked and you forgot how to get into Discovery Education, here we go. Go to discoveryeducation.com. You see the website right here. When you click login, you should all be locked solid into your account because it's all connected to our Google. Click on the textbook, and here we go. So we're skipping to chapter 3, which is Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates, is known as Mesopotamia. We're going to be looking at chapter 1 and chapter 3 of Mesopotamia, or 3.1 and 3.3. We're going to focus in on geography for 3.1. So as far as these read alouds go, the reason that we're doing read aloud videos for you is to A, preview the questions, and B, just help you guys have an alternative to reading it on your own entirely. Even if you're a strong reader, it's good to process through and think deeply while it's being read aloud to you, or that you can reread it through listening to it. And if information text isn't your favorite thing in the world, hopefully this will help you get a little bit more comfortable with how to read information text. So that's why we're doing these videos. And they will all be named 3.1 Explore Page 1 Read Aloud, or 3.1 Explore Page 2 Read Aloud. And we'll explain all of that, how that connects with your task board that you've gotten, and how you guys can utilize the sources that we're putting in front of you. So let's, again, Explore is the tab that we're on. Page 1 is the page that we're on. There's a lot of good videos and engaging activities within Discovery Ed. Encourage you to read them, listen to them, even if they're not required of you. All right, so we're going to get into the text here, but before we do that, I forgot to do something almost. We need to preview the questions. Now, little secret is I'm recording this video probably about 5 weeks before we're actually doing this unit. It's still summer, but I want to get a jump start on giving you guys every opportunity to be engaged with remote learning for this first unit. So your task board will probably look different than this, but the questions will be the same. Here are the 2 questions that we're looking for during this read aloud. So for 3.1, explore page 1, we're going to be asking you guys to identify where the Mesopotamians settled. That's the first question. And then also, what does the name Mesopotamia mean? So as we're reading the text, be listening for that, so you guys will be able to continue to build this foundation that will lead you guys to a deeper understanding of how geography and the environment that we live in impacts each of us. Here we go, back to the text. So many families can trace their histories back to foreign countries or ancient lands. Do you know anyone who can trace his or her roots all the way back to Mesopotamia? You know, many of you guys have heritage in Europe or in Mexico, and various places around the world, but not many people can trace back to Mesopotamia. All right, I'm getting back to the text. Sorry. The answer is most likely no. This is because Mesopotamia was one of the earliest centers of human civilization. Some of the first cities in the world were found there. It would be nearly impossible for most people to trace their roots all the way back to Mesopotamia. Second paragraph. Mesopotamia was established around 3500 BCE. If you remember from my introduction video, Hammurabi was only around 1750 BCE, about 1700 years after when it actually started. So overall, that is about 5,500 years ago. Nomadic humans migrated from place to place in search of food. Over time, some of these nomads settled in the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. They're on top of either Tigris is on top, top, right? Euphrates is below. This is where modern Iraq and part of eastern Syria are now located. Historians call this region Mesopotamia. The name means the land between the rivers. So that fertile ground was where my eyes are, right? It was between the two rivers. Now people live north and south of the rivers as well, but that's where the fertile ground was. We'll get into that more later. So Mesopotamia was not a country. So the name means land between the rivers. Several ancient civilizations, sprang up in this region. Third paragraph. Mesopotamia was not a country the way that the United States or other modern nations are. It did not have the same kind of borders and government that we have today. Instead, it was a civilization made up of separate settlements, sometimes called city-states. City-states were made up of large cities and the surrounding areas. Each city-state usually was controlled by a strong leader and ruler. Substitute some words there, sorry about that. At different points in history, different empires or kingdoms ruled these cities. So I'm not going to tell you where it is in the text, but did you learn where did Mesopotamians settle? And you also learn about what the name Mesopotamian means. If you guys have any questions about these questions as you're completing your task board, let us know. Re-listen to the video, reread the text, and use critical thinking skills to problem solve any questions that you guys may have or problems that you may have. But we're here for you. Oh, goodness.